You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dees.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, it's AFTERBUZZ TV's Game Control Live.
Hey guys, and welcome to Game Control Live.
Howdy.
For a very exciting edition with a whole bunch of new people as we play some sweet Dark World Dubstep remix by djJo. Check it out on djJo's music channel. It's awesome music. But joining me this week across the table, Grant Kohrmann.
Howdy, everybody.
And the very lovely Donell Tucker.
Hey, everybody.
They're fighting for who has the longer locks. Can you tell?
I think I'm winning, right?
Yeah, Donell totally has the longer locks. Donell, for those of you who don't know, he was a writer for the new media team for G4.
Yep.
Joining us, so.
And also a producer and video editor.
And producer.
I mean, played a lot of games and made comedy videos that were, I look back at it and I'm like, what was I thinking?
And then you're like, those are the best
Straight up,
times.
that's a love affair with Dan Hibiki.
Exactly.
Yes, also love them.
So next to me, you may recognize him from previous episodes, Patrick Dees.
What is up, guys?
Also, Pixel by Pixel podcaster.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And guys, I'm Dave Klein, and if you want to call in, make sure you call in at 424-256-1729 if you guys are watching us live. And in the booth, as always, returning from a long trip, long trip, John Quick.
Mr. Quick.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be back. I've missed all of you so very, very much.
John Quick is also a liar.
He hated you.
You know what I missed even more? Silencing Dave when he's being a douche. Talk, Dave. I dare you.
Okay. Jeez. Oh no, I can't talk.
There you go. You're back up.
Okay, so guys, today we got a bunch of topics for you guys. We got our gaming moments of the week. We got a whole bunch of quick hits, including Earthbound released. What? Ubisoft may have some high expectations, some bad news for EA, and more. And we're going to talk about last week's Evo Tournament. But before we get to all of that, some exciting topics for this week, because this weekend, I don't know if you guys know. I mean, you probably haven't heard, but it's Comic-Con.
Either that or
What is this Comic-Con you speak of?
Comic-Con.
I mean, they
what?
do stuff with comics.
never heard of that.
Well, actually, they
Must be a
don't.
new
Well,
thing.
actually, the thing is, they don't do anything with comics. That's the funny thing about
Yeah,
Comic-Con.
it's getting there. It's getting there.
There's no comics. It's all movies and
This
TV.
is Comic-Con's evil brother.
I was there earlier this week. I cosplayed as you.
Oh, whoa! So you got a little bit smaller and shorter. Patrick is like a monster, by the way.
This is, I'm 6'4". I'm still kind of growing into my body.
He's not sitting on a chair.
He decided to go back in time to before puberty, and that's how he cosplayed as me. Perfect. So guys, was there anything exciting though for you, video game wise, at Comic-Con? Because it was really more about comics, but we've seen movies creeping in, we've seen TV creeping in, now video games are starting to creep in.
I think it's the intermarriage between video games and movies and television that really excites me at Comic-Con.
Okay.
Like a game like Defiance is uniquely situated to kind of take hold and like present new stuff there, especially since it's an ongoing game.
Yeah.
It's like nobody's going to be like, oh, your game came out 5 months ago. Everybody knows what's going on with it. It's an ongoing game, so there could be new stuff for
Right,
it.
that they can present there and show off. For sure.
But as far as the video games go, like everything that was brought there is like a rehash of what was at E3 for the most part.
Did you see the Strider announcement?
Yes.
They did announce
Capcom.
Strider.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that excite you guys in any way?
You know, it is exciting.
Grant just starts laughing.
Because, I mean, it's like an HD remixed, redone.
Metroidvania
It's a
style.
DJ remix of
Right,
Strider.
because it's like, updated the quality of the graphics and
Right.
sparkle effects and, you know, but it's still the same Strider from back in the days. I mean, I only played Strider 2, but it seemed like very similar. Sliding kick, you know, dashing, climbing. It has all that stuff, and the controls are much better and more, I guess, developed.
So personally, I'm excited for it because I haven't played Strider outside of Marvel vs. Capcom. Okay. That's my only experience with Strider.
Sure.
Who I liked using because he looked like a badass. So I'm like, all right, this is my chance. All right.
He looks like a badass, but he is a badass.
No.
Strider's one of my favorite characters in Marvel vs. Capcom, and to see him finally get his due as, you know, like a revamped game created for him. It was pretty nice.
You know what?
Except for, like, I've already
were
seen him
excited
evolve. I've seen him evolve over the years
Yeah.
in Marvel vs.
Yeah.
Capcom, and it's like you see all these characters in Marvel vs. Capcom evolve, and you kind of want to see them like if you see Mega Man.
I know, like we saw Spider-Man become really big. We saw the X-Men become really big since Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Iron Man got. I'm just messing around.
These are movies.
All the Marvel characters got really big somehow.
There's something called the Avengers. I don't know.
I'm with you guys though. Like I'm not that excited about it at all. I mean, granted, I think it's cool that from a nostalgia perspective to see it again. But like, I think it's a cool opportunity. Like, I'm just not that interested in a lot of these HD remakes. Let's take the intellectual property and do something totally different with it.
I'm interested in really Darksiders. I'm interested in Mega Man. I'm not as interested in Strider.
Here's what
it is a Metroidvania style, and there's not a whole heck of a lot of those out right now.
It is.
So,
oh my god, I have to play. I love Metroidvania, but look, I think it's exciting. I do like these HD remixes for the sole purpose that we grew up on these games, and I think they're really good, and I think they're better. I mean, I don't get. I mean, maybe this is my younger generation. The arcade games like Galaga aren't too nostalgic for me, but I think these games are so good.
That's not even. I don't even think that's my generation.
Well, right. But you know what I mean is like people. But their generation But their generation tried to bring it to our generation with like arcade mixes and stuff they would buy in the consoles.
Well,
and to me, this
Pac-Man Championship Edition. Is like it's an insane remix.
But I mean, to me, this is a chance to try and show. Like, I feel like 8-year-olds out there today. I want them to experience these games that I loved when I was a kid because I think they still hold up. And this is a way to push it onto them, as opposed to like, here, let me pull out my Super Nintendo or my Sega Genesis, and you can play Strider on that.
Well, what's really interesting is like Capcom decided to lay off a significant portion of their company, which we talked about last week, and yet they announce a game which is essentially a retro remake of one of their old games. It's like, did you?
It's because it's cheap. It's very cheap to do.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
The reason that they gave for laying off for all those employees was we need to concentrate on the new console generation. When in fact,
focusing on a 20-year-old game.
Yeah, on our older game.
Well, I don't know. I'm with you. So to an extent, I think that I would like new generations to experience those mechanics in that game. But like also, I think it's a missed opportunity. Like, couldn't they take that intellectual property and then go in a completely different direction?
Oh, they could.
Right. I mean, I think.
I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom is a perfect example of how they grabbed all these game characters. Some of them were in RPG type games. Some of them were in like fighting or side scrolling, and then they put them all into this amalgam.
But like, are you trying to say like taking Strider and make him like a third person view, right? Open world, kind of like
maybe it's a Strider RPG. Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly. Something
because the
really
core intellectual property is cool, and let's just explore what else is out there as opposed to just. But to your point, it's cheap. It's a rehash. We can spin it out.
Right, exactly. Because you gotta expect how big is Strider? Like, how does out of everybody in the world know Strider?
Sure.
And then how much money you invest to create an RPG.
Pull people who are Capcom fans.
Right.
You have to be a Marvel
see, that's the thing. So if you're just going for the Capcom fans and then you try something new, like a third-person RPG, you might get a backlash and be like, "That's horrible."
And I thought they were going to get backlash for doing that with Mega Man. I thought that like
with the first-person shooter, right?
They were going to do the first-person.
Oh man, that looks so cool.
That looks so good.
Right.
But like you're going to get backlash from people who didn't expect that.
Like I want the side scrollers. That was the classic. I grew up on that.
But here's the thing. Here's another thing about it though that they can do with this. And I know I talked to the DuckTales Remastered guys at E3 who were doing that, and I asked them if we were going to see any DuckTales.
Comic-Con.
We were also at Comic-Con, but I asked them if we were going to see any DuckTales 2 content in DuckTales Remastered, and they said no, but you never know what we'll do if it's really successful. And I feel like that's the same thing, and this is Capcom again. I think it's the same thing with Strider HD, is if it does really well, they probably will come out with that new IP and that new intellectual property. So I think they're just testing the waters with it.
You definitely got to build your audience, right? You got to see, look, okay, who's out there who really wants Strider? And if it is successful, then like, great. When we make another one that may experiment in new genres, we have those audience who like the first one, and then we can capture more.
Now real quick on the whole HD recreation and collections, Alyssa White on the chat says that she thinks Metal Gear Solid and Devil May Cry HD collections were fantastic, and I know personally I was excited about the Shadow of the Colossus one and the Eco one that came out. But I do want to move on to some other Comic-Con things that happened video game-wise. And for me, I was pretty excited about... I know they usually suck, but I think that these movies actually have potential. As they had a panel talking about the Deus Ex movie and the Dead Space movie coming out. And those are two video game franchises that have such strong stories that I think they could be good movies if they're done right, which they haven't been so far for any game movie ever.
On that list, and so is so Deus Ex, Splinter Cell, and then there's also the Need for Speed movie, which is well underway.
But I specifically said those two because those are the ones to me I feel like would make really good movies. Like Dead Space could be such a cool sci-fi horror movie if it's done well.
But I think
I think. Well, I would say I think that's what I feel too. Like I really need a good sci-fi movie, you know, that really gets me connected. And I think Dead Space, and also another one I played, which was Capcom's, was Remember Me. I thought that was actually a really good sci-fi novel.
Really,
but didn't hit to their certain. They had potential, but didn't hit exactly on the target.
Now, Dead Space is in production, right?
But that's what's weird. It's like some of these are in actual production, like the Need for Speed movie, well under production.
Right.
But if you were to talk about games were announced
without Vin Diesel
for movies, and then which ones have actually been made and which ones have actually made. Halo was announced what?
Yeah,
like
Halo was announced
6 years ago.
What was that?
And it's just like stayed in
But they just re-announced it. That was Steven Spielberg. So
TV show.
Yeah, but the thing is, they did say that, hey, Dead Space is still going, and they had this interesting. They were talking about why it doesn't happen, why a lot of times the movies suck for video games compared to comics. And they're saying a lot of that is because it's easy to show a studio head, like, hey, read this comic, and they'll get a gist of how a comic goes.
Sure.
But that doesn't take too much time. To say, hey, play this game, playing something like Dead Space takes 15 to 20 hours.
And really immerse yourself
right, so
in
they're not going to do that. And they probably also suck at a game and can't do it either.
Yeah,
but that is in development. Like I feel like there's a writer attached who wrote some terrible movie. You guys know? I don't know off the top of my head.
There's 2 or 3 of these movies have had writers attached. They've written entire scripts and they just scrap them, which is what's so interesting. Is like I don't even give them the not my green light, but I don't even give them like the benefit of the doubt until they start filming.
Well, here's
at
the
this
thing.
point,
It's
because
like,
there's been so many resets and restarts.
Well, the challenging thing is creating video games into movies. That we've been through this before, way back in Super Mario Brothers, and up to
that was a great movie.
That's a guilty pleasure. You know that.
Yeah,
you know it's bad, but it's so funny.
I would say Mortal Kombat was good, and I actually really like Silent Hill.
But you didn't like Mortal Kombat 2.
No, that was terrible.
Right, and I feel like there's this ongoing challenge of understanding how to get a video game to a movie, because you can't put 20 hours into a movie. Same as like a book, right? You can't take everything about the book and put it onto the movie of like, oh, what is the character thinking and thoughts? Like, you can't really translate that into a movie, so you have to pick and choose.
Trilogy or something.
Yeah.
They shouldn't really like
it's expensive.
try and blow the entire story.
Right.
Like, you're not going to really. So anybody who tries to do the entire 3-game arc of Halo through 1 through 2 through 3 in a single movie.
Well, a thing to look at. Probably the best adaptation, best straight adaptation of any of this stuff is Mortal Kombat Legacy. Like
that was really good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think they can be good. It just hasn't happened yet, but I think they can be. I think there's potential.
I think we want to, because we're like, we want to see a movie of this. Like The Last of Us would be, like I've seen online, would be a great movie.
But
would it?
It was because I feel like called The Road.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen that.
So Caps fan John, and they're talking about Need for Speed on the chat right now. Caps fan John makes a good point that at least like something like Need for Speed has Aaron Paul, who's a really good actor attached to it. So it kind of, I think he's a good actor.
I was gonna say he may be a good actor, but I don't know if. Really, like when I see a movie, I'm like, that's incredible because incredible actor. It needs to be everything.
But I mean, like you've seen like so many video games. I had watched I had a marathon where I had to watch every single one in a row for charity. And one of the problems was a lot of times the actors were so terrible. It didn't matter how good the movie was. It was just such bad acting. So you need to have that's one element.
You need to have
like one puzzle piece there.
Writer, a star director, a star actor, just to get the backup of the money to spend for production. You know, like if Brad Pitt was starring in Need for Speed, I mean, it would end up being
World War Z.
Yeah.
The crowd tech was cool in World War Z. That is about it.
So I do want to move on to Batman Origins, because that was Batman Arkham Origins, because that's one of the things we actually did get some reveals about from Comic-Con with, I believe it was Copperhead, gonna be a villain there.
Quick little thing. Does it seem Copperhead's now a female?
So what do they do?
And I saw her. It kind of felt like Catwoman. Like I felt familiarity.
I think she looks like X23.
Like they used the assets of Catwoman and just reskinned her.
I don't know, but they've got a whole PR hype. There's a hype around this that they had like 3 different they mocapped 3 different individuals, like a contortionist,
a martial artist.
Yeah. So
it's very unique. I just felt familiar with it.
If they are recycling those assets, they got a great talk track around it. Is what I'm saying. I'm like,
because it even looks like her. I don't know.
That would be really fun if they did that. That would be great.
They went to all this trouble and they're just like, you know what? You guys just want to reskin Catwoman?
It's a lot cheaper.
Pretty great.
Get this out there.
But they would have had to get the assets from WB Games, or not from WB.
Rocksteady, which they do. Yeah. They do. That's how they are creating this.
Do they have the same?
They pretty much. Rocksteady's like, look, we're going to create the bigger one.
It was produced in conjunction, so they have
a lot
of assets.
Right, because they're working on the bigger Batman, but it's going to take so long. Warner Brothers is like, look, let's just keep the audience satisfied with another one in place.
Batman.
Did anybody
Actually, never even thought about that.
Anybody else notice this? Like, Kevin Conroy isn't doing the voice for Batman in this.
He was. He said he was at E3 in a panel, and then he's not going to. At this point, like he's been confirmed he's not in the game.
Yeah,
but it's going to be Christian Bale now.
Working on Batman.
Now it's going to be Christian Bale the whole time.
Be this one.
Christian Bale the whole time.
I'm in. I would play that game.
10 out of 10.
And Booker DeWitt. What's I'm spacing the voice actor's name? He's playing
Troy Baker.
Yeah, Troy Baker. It's unbelievable.
So
he's in all of the games.
Alyssa White points
like a Nolan North.
Yeah.
So Alyssa White points out that the Mad Hatter is also going to be in Batman Arkham Origins, as well as Black Mask, the Penguin, and Deathstroke, and now some other people.
But
I like
Did
Mad
they
Hatter.
say Mad Hatter, or I thought they said something about like it's going to be another. Like remember, like when you face Mad Hatter, you're in this like nightmare. Same
Like
thing
a
with
DLC
Scarecrow, because
Right.
I think Scarecrow's coming back
Scarecrow
too.
Yeah, because that
made,
makes
like,
sense
a
for
proper
Scarecrow too. They're
appearance.
very similar.
Right. So I don't think
Assets.
you get to face him, but more of going through another like.
Experience.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't understand why this is news. I think the only
like the
reason that
rabbit
this
hats.
is news is because it's a
Rabbit Head
DC.
Batman.
It's a DC
exclusively on PS3.
like,
as a skin.
vehicle, and it's a Warner Brothers game. Announcing a DLC character shouldn't be like this, or not a DLC character, but announcing a character that you haven't announced yet should not be like this news hurrah.
Actually,
Especially when you have these like big companies there. Sony is there with a booth. Microsoft is there with a booth. Capcom, all their games that they're working on, like they bring some of these companies are bringing like everything, and like here we are, we're talking about like Copperhead.
Well, you know why? It's because they already did those announcements at E3. That's why it's not big news.
So
for
like
us.
had it ready to show at E3 and they just didn't show it, so they have something to say now.
Look, games are developed with that PR cycle in mind, right? I mean, literally, they build around that, right? So they'll add additional nemesis.
With that
in mind, building that PR cycle.
That to me, that's what is wrong with this whole like convention cycle, and that's also what's wrong about video games edging in on Comic-Con.
Well, I mean,
You're
that's
gonna
how
end
you
up
do
having
hype.
this. I know
That's how you-
Comic-Con's
Yeah, you don't want to. You want to get.
beast.
You don't want to release everything because then it's like going up to the game. You have nothing.
Absolutely.
Right.
New.
Yeah, no.
So you kind of just like, hey, a little tease
Trickle in
there. a little-
tidbits. So
Trickle in
speaking of what
tidbits.
you were talking about, though, Grant, we do need to discuss. Do you guys think video games even belong at Comic-Con? And it's not like. Here's my thing: is I absolutely love video games. I like them more than comics. I like them more than movies and TV. Like video games is my thing. So anytime I'm going to see video games somewhere, I'm automatically going to be like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, I have to admit, like, it doesn't make very much sense unless it's specifically a franchise like Batman,
Right.
That relates specifically to a comic.
For example, they showed off the Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds, right? Is that really a comic book? Really?
Right.
Like it? Now, there's probably comic books of Legend of Zelda, but
well,
it didn't
comic
start
books
as
of
that.
almost
So
well,
did it
hell.
belong there? It's like no, but as a business standpoint, you're like, yeah, that's how I get my game out there.
I would take the
for
hard
kids.
line that video games shouldn't be at Comic-Con.
At all? Not even like Batman or Spider-Man?
I would say if there's a special extenuating circumstance where it's like you actually have a
Walking Dead
significant
game?
TV show, and I even think
Right.
TV is edging in on what Comic-Con used to be, but if you have a significant TV show and an actual comic book,
Right.
then you should be featured there. And I know it's a little bit elitist, and I know that like people that love to experience all that stuff, they like experiencing
are
it in
elitist.
one,
Yeah.
in one area, but it's really weird. And I know that E3 is an industry only convention, but it seems really weird to have like video games and movies and television all competing so much over the same floor space.
I think in a Venn diagram of audiences, there's a significant overlap. So if I'm from a business perspective, I think it makes sense for video games to be there. I just wouldn't. I mean, I would announce like again a different villain there, nothing significant, because you're going to get lost in the noise, right? So
Yeah.
it's fine, let them be there, but
Right.
But they're
I
still
mean,
there. Like you see those games are not just. I mean, those games are not just there. They bring everything that they brought to E3, but the thing that they justify them actually being at the convention with is the announcement of an additional character or one new feature.
You got to think of the
fine, they
audience.
share
The
a
only
huge
reason
audience. There's a
Assassin's
big
Creed
overlap.
There's a huge
there
audience,
is
and
because they're announcing a figure. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing,
there's
here's
no
the thing.
reason for them to be there.
It's another chance for them to get in front of their audience, though. I mean, from a business
that's-
perspective,
it's like,
I think
look,
it makes sense. If I'm
It's like it's sorry to interrupt, but it's like, look, you read comic books, right? But you also play video games. and you also watch movies. And
Yeah,
you watch
these are things they love.
So that's what we're experiencing, especially before like Anime Expo. Is it just supposed to be anime? It's like no, because people who are fans of anime also play video games and read manga and read comic
So
books.
that's why I get that mix to me though. Like for Comic-Con, I'm like I kind of would like to see it more based on comic video games. But I mean, like I say, like, you know, I mean, Dark Souls 2 for me was the game that I was excited to play at E3, and now it's at Comic-Con for people to play. So it's nice to give the public a chance to play it, and that's the big difference. But it seems like it belongs more like somewhere like PAX. Although PAX sells out like hell, then I guess it was Comic-Con.
Right.
It's another chance for people to
But
play.
you almost feel like PAX is more of like an indie kind of convention, right? That's the
kind of a grassroots.
hey, you know, we don't need no big company. I do this in my basement. You know,
huge thing that's spread to Australia and nearly every other country.
Right. So, but again, it's like, well, I play indie games, but also big AAA game title games. So
we're gonna have the ultimate convention.
We're blending stuff together, man.
So
in a melting pot.
Yeah, we're bringing people together. I like it. I like it.
So I asked the chat.
Don't diversify.
I asked the chat what they thought, and Alyssa White thinks video games should definitely be at Comic-Con.
Yeah, everybody seems to think that it
Lions
should be.
fan says some TV shows being there like Walking Dead, but I agree video games should be at Comic-Con. Ryan Whittleson says video games should be there, especially if it's tied into films, TVs, and comics. I think the main discrepancy
Why
that
not
we
have
see
your
with
Burger Hut serve tacos too?
I gotta eat. I love food.
I'm okay with that. I like tacos more than burgers, so then I'll start going to Burger Hut.
Boom.
KFC and
Yeah. And then there's one restaurant where they serve fried chicken, waffles, sushi, and
KFC, Taco Bell.
I think to me the big problem is like things like Glee being at Comic-Con. I have no problem with the show. It's fine. You know,
Where's
it's fine.
the
Whatever. Yeah, exactly. It has nothing to do with anything. They just put it there because now it's more like a TV show panel place.
Yeah.
Really, when you think about Comic-Con, you think TV show panel.
And what's even worse is there's panels on some of these things.
Yeah.
Why the hell do you need a panel on? Like, okay,
Because people
I
attend
actually
them.
don't. I don't want to.
If nobody went to
I have this thing set up where I'm gonna like ask you all what games are at Comic-Con and like see what your reactions are as to like these lists of games I have. I don't want to ruin it, but like there's some games at Comic-Con that have panels that it's just like what the.
Because people attend them. That's my point. People go to them. If people didn't, if there wasn't interest, they'd stop having them.
But
So,
have
I mean, I feel like
you seen the fucking line to Hall H? It starts at midnight the night before. People go to shit.
I've been waiting for like a day and a half. It's like for me, as much as like
It is a smart
maybe
business
incredible.
move. I agree with you.
It's still like what, a day and a half waiting in line just to get into a panel. It's like I wouldn't do that for anything.
I wore my
unless it's like $1 million.
I wore my TARDIS pajamas.
Coming out in November.
I waited overnight to buy a Wii back in the day, so I owned something.
Right.
Not to like watch something I can watch later online.
Exactly. I don't know why people do that, but you know, hey.
I mean, speaking of which, we actually do have a day and a half wait to check us out after the show. Studio, back in the studio. Day and a half wait. Lines wrapping around the studio. All right, so Grant actually has a game for us because we do need to move on.
Wait, what?
I'm gonna move my iPad back here.
Wait, Patrick got something to say.
Just one real quick question. So I was just tweeted at by Goat Hardstroke, and he asked about
that was me, sorry.
He asked about Warcraft the movie. Is this of any interest to you guys at all?
It's a
Speaking
little bit,
about
but
that,
again, like I want to see it start. You know what I mean? Because they've been talking about that kind of stuff for a long time.
Okay.
They've been talking about a Warcraft movie for going on almost
it's like once
5 years.
It's kind of like that talk that maybe you have with your friends, like, dude, we're gonna make a movie. And it's like 2 years. It's like we're still on, right? Yeah.
Welcome to Los Angeles.
Produced and failed in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
We've seen multiple comic book or nerd type movies announced, produced, and failed in the amount of time that movies like Halo, World of Warcraft, and the Far Cry series and Hitman, like they have been just like
Hitman was terrible.
They were really bad.
Another video game that's been in the movie.
I can tell you plenty of bad video game movies from watching all of them. Okay, Grant, what is your game though?
Okay, my game is Games Not at Comic-Con, and I'm gonna read off a couple of rounds here real quick.
Here we go.
Like I'm gonna read off a list of 4 games, and you guys have to decide which of these games is not actually at Comic-Con. And the caveat is these games can't just have a collectible, a poster. They can't just have been mentioned by the company that produced them at a panel for the sake of it. And a person can't have asked this question. So toys are excluded as well because there's toys from freaking everything.
So basically, it's like games that you can't play at Comic-Con.
No, yes, games that you can't play are games that aren't featured prominently.
So we're gonna collaborate. We're gonna get together and align on an answer.
Okay, or you could all give your one answer at once.
What do we win? What do we win?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And guys on the chat, people in chat, play along with us.
Yeah, definitely.
Round one. No, just we're gonna get it started. We're going.
We're going, man.
Round one. Which of these games is not at Comic-Con?
All right.
Defiance MMO, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, Killzone Shadowfall, or Beyond Two Souls.
Ooh, okay,
Beyond Two
okay.
Souls. No, that's PS.
Defiance MMO, we know that's
Definitely.
100%. Get that out of there.
I'm sure Ace Attorney's
That's a
there
given.
just because I'm sure it's playable. I think it's wait.
Phoenix Wright?
Phoenix Wright is the one I'm leaning toward not being there, is my guess.
I would say it is because this is the audience for it.
Well, yeah, because it's like a comic book in a way, 2D art,
And it's easy because it's a DS game.
God damn it, Grant, your tricky questions.
Okay. So Phoenix Wright, and then what was the other two?
Beyond Two Souls.
Killzone
Beyond Two
Shadowfall
Souls.
and
Killzone's
definitely
there for 100%.
Killzone's
Also
gotta
pull
be
that
there.
one out of there.
Beyond Two Souls.
Beyond Two Souls
They
or
were
Phoenix
showing it at
Wright.
E3, so I'm gonna say,
I still think.
but it's like a movie.
Okay, we got multiple rounds.
I'm going
We got multiple rounds.
Phoenix
So
Wright. Phoenix Wright.
Phoenix Wright is not there?
It's not there.
I say Beyond Two Souls.
I say Beyond Two Souls.
Okay, you're all wrong. Killzone Shadowfall was not there. Killzone Shadowfall was not there in any real,
Really?
official capacity.
Okay,
Beyond Two
I gotta
Souls
give credit to
was,
Alyssa
Phoenix
White.
Wright and Defiance were all there in major capacity.
Alyssa
Alright, who
White
got it?
said Killzone Shadowfall.
Okay.
Ah,
Well, she can-
Alyssa.
honestly,
Nicely
she can
done,
play
nicely
along.
done.
Okay, we're
Nicely
trying to go.
done.
Let's go for it.
right.
Round two. The Elder Scrolls Online, DuckTales Remastered,
DuckTales is there.
Drive Club, or South Park Stick of Truth.
Ooh, I'm gonna say South Park.
Yeah, I'm
Stick of
saying
Truth.
South Park, too.
No, South Park was definitely there.
quiet,
South
John.
Park.
Wait, what was
He can't help us.
What was the first one? What was the
I
first
am
one?
not looking shit up.
The
Screw
Elder
you.
Scrolls
Elder Scrolls Online. Elder Scrolls Online is definitely the one. That's what I think.
DuckTales Remastered, Drive Club, and South Park.
Well, no,
Stick of
maybe they
Truth.
had a panel, but I'm gonna still say Elder Scrolls.
Drive Club.
I'm sticking with my.
Drive Club. It's either Drive Club or Elder Scrolls. But I think I'm gonna say Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls Online. I'm going Elder Scrolls
I'm
Online.
going Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, I'm flipping.
Okay,
I'm going
Elder Scrolls Online was not there. Drive Club, amazingly,
we're on the
is
board.
there.
Yeah.
Of course,
0-0
South Park is
for
there.
me.
Okay, round three. Dark Souls
my
2.
comeback.
This is
Dying
Souls
Light.
is
Okay,
there.
hold on, just wait for the freaking list. Dark Souls
This is worth 2 points, right?
Dying Light, Mad Max, or Lego Marvel Superheroes.
Mad Max is there.
Dying
Lego
Light,
Superheroes is
Dying
there.
Light,
What's the second
Dying
one?
Light.
Dying Light.
Dying Light.
Dying
Yeah,
Light.
that's my vote, too.
Dying Light, absolutely, because I know my Dark Souls too.
Okay,
It's Dying
that's
Light.
very good. Very good. You guys got 2 points out of 3 so far.
All right.
Yay.
Round 4.
All right.
Lost Planet 3, The Walking Dead 400 Days, Infamous
Totally
Second
missed
Son, or Soul Calibur 2 HD.
Wait, what was the third one?
Infamous Second Son, and then the last one is Soul Calibur 2 HD.
Playable? 400 days almost doesn't make sense to be
Yeah, but
playable.
I'm sure it's there because The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
had
it's
all
there.
the-
It's there.
And it just came out
Lost
like
Planet 3 was the
ago.
first one, Infamous Second Son, and Soul Calibur 2.
I'm gonna say Soul
Lost
Calibur
Planet
2.
3. Lost Planet
I'm gonna
3.
say Lost Planet 3.
I'm on the Lost Planet.
You're all wrong. It's Infamous Second Son. Everything else was there in a
Why the
major
hell is that
capacity.
So what you're
there.
saying is Sony's not showing up,
No,
basically.
Sony is showing up. There's I had a
Killzone.
couple. Okay, well,
He said Killzone wasn't there. I thought.
I'll skip to
No,
the last
I thought
one.
Killzone was there.
I'll skip to the last
Oh,
one.
no,
This
yeah, it wasn't
includes
there.
Games.
Yeah.
This-
So confused.
The last one includes games that Microsoft and Sony brought at their booth. So honestly, don't look at this. Don't look it up. Get off your phones.
I'm on the live chat, yo.
We're gonna skip from round 5 to round 6.
Lightning
You
round.
have now 2 out of 4 points given. Round 6 is Knack, Rise, Son of Rome, Hatsune Miku Project Diva F, and Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain.
Well, Hatsune Miku is definitely there because you had trouble saying it.
No.
He went to
How's
that
that gonna
trouble.
work?
And weird enough,
hold
I
on.
actually know it's there for some reason.
Before you guys reach any conclusions
Why do I
about
know
which
that's
games I
there?
include,
Okay.
I went to a list of games that were announced at E3 and then compared it to a list of what they were offering at E3 or
Comic-Con?
Comic-Con and if they were.
Okay.
Hatsune Miku's
so-
there. I'm pretty positive.
That was
Just
announced at
because
E3.
it's too many
yeah.
syllables for it not to be.
No, I think it's there because no, I
So
think
the other
because
two- the
I
other
because
three
I
you
live
have to-
Hatsune Miku.
It's so crazy, it has to be there.
No, it's because I live by Hatsune Miku.
Oh yeah, he does.
Do
He's
you
a
have the pizza?
professional dancer.
Was it the?
I go to
Did
her.
you get the
I go to
pizza?
her concerts in Japan. I fly out to the.
So
See
the
a
other three
computer.
that you have to choose from are Knack, Rise, Son of Rome, and Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain.
Phantom Pain?
Phantom Pain.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Phantom
Metal
Pain.
Gear Solid
Phantom
5.
Pain,
I'm gonna
yeah.
agree with that.
Phantom
Okay,
Pain.
so you guys got it. So you have
Yeah.
So you
All
guys
right.
got 3 points out of 5, which is still a fail. A dismal showing. It's 60%.
Grant's an elitist to the
Jeez.
extreme.
You guys got it wrong, right, but you still fail.
So by G4 terms, 3 out of 5 was average, by the way.
Yeah, so
Pretty much.
you guys get an average. I don't know if you're okay with
Seven,
that.
I'm fine. I was an average student.
Step
So
up
It was the
game
6th round,
Success.
but we'll leave it at that.
oh hey.
In my mind, you just did the Mario jump, by the way.
yeah.
I know that was success. But I saw Mario jump. All right, so that wraps up our Comic-Con portion with that game, and that just goes to show there's a lot of tie-in between E3 and Comic-Con. It's really your
Yep.
chance to play the games that you didn't if you're not pressed,
Right.
Which is pretty cool. But gaming moments of the week. Let's go ahead and go around the horn for gaming moments of the week, starting with Patrick.
You look so relieved.
I know.
I'm still trying to get mine together.
Oh, thank God.
Okay,
There's so many.
My gaming moment of the week was a series of moments, if you will. So I dove deep into Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
So I played the first. I know you guys know the section. If you play this, the first 20 minutes, if you will. Right?
Mostly walking.
Yeah,
The stuff
walking
without
and some
Ellie.
running. Right. The first 20 minutes, right? The 20
Walk
years
before
ago
you run.
section. And so I played this, and my mind was just blown. I was just like, this is incredible. So sure enough, I had a buddy come over. I'm like, you have to see this. So this is the first night I play the game. I play the first like 20 minutes, and I have a buddy come over. I'm like, you need to see this. I play the first 20 minutes. He takes off. He's just totally, he mists up. He
goes and buys the game.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, he's totally sold. I mean, it's like, this is what video games look like. I mean, I was totally blown away from the way that she moves and animates and the way there's a weight to her, and she walks sleepily. Like, I was just amazed. So the art assets are incredible in her room. I was blown away. So then I ordered some food. The guy who brings me chicken, he knows I'm a gamer. Every time
The guy that brings you chicken.
Every
The guy
time
who brings you chicken.
he
I'm the
brings
chicken
me-
guy.
He brings me chicken.
He remembers Patrick, but Patrick's just like, it's the chicken, dude.
I know, right?
Hey, what's up,
Well,
Patrick?
What's up?
What's up?
You have my chicken with you?
No, because every time he comes over, I show up at the door. I've got my headset around my neck. I'm like, "What's up, bro?" And he always asks me, "What are you playing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'll tell you." So usually, he's playing Infinite while I was playing. So I know for a fact the dude's a gamer. So he shows up with the chicken. I had just played the intro twice.
So you just played it again.
I'm like, come on in, dude. You have to see this. So I made the delivery guy, sit on my couch for like an extra 20 minutes. I'm sure he's not going to be the guy who brings me chicken next time because there's no way. He just screws off from work for like 20 minutes.
Nice.
He's- Right,
You
I
either
know.
got him fired or he's too creeped out to come back.
But that's how good this game is. Yeah, right.
Watch next week. It's only gonna be Patrick by himself because he got all of us fired.
Yeah, exactly.
So my
get some
gaming of the
chicken.
week was the opening to that game. So I guess I would just, if you haven't touched Last of Us, what's wrong with you? I don't even know what you're doing with your life anymore. This game's unbelievable, and I think
it's pretty
actually
worth it.
it is the best reason I have now to buy a PlayStation 4. It's to see what Naughty Dog's going to do with
Like
technology.
I said last week during our rewind, it's one of the first games to come along in about a year or a year or two for that matter, that's really like, hey, you want to buy a PS3? Buy, you want to play Last of Us, buy a PS3. And it's just before the new console cycle,
I'm saying
too.
best reason to buy a PS4.
Yeah,
I want to see what
It's
Naughty
just
Dog's going to do
because
with
it's so
tech.
amazing that
because
they're gonna do
ostensibly
another
this
one.
is like
Naughty Dog has always been good. They were the reason why PlayStation was Crash Bandicoot. Reason why PS2 was Uncharted.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, because ostensibly this is like
PS3.
eight-year-old tech that they just realized that vision on. So give them some current tech, and I think that really they're going to be able to effectively tell
They can
even more
squeeze
powerful.
everything out of these like systems.
It's incredible, but I think
Or
they're just
that
going to tell
system, they
very
were doing
emotionally
a lot.
impactful stories with additional technology.
Yeah.
So that was my gaming moment of the week. I played the same section 3 times
With my chicken friend.
with my chicken friend.
With Chicken Friend, Chicken Buddy, and give him a shout. Be like, you're on my show. That's Chicken Buddy.
Birds on Franklin, best damn chicken joint in Los Angeles. So I'm just saying.
Nice
Nice
one.
shout out there.
Business.
Yep.
Booming.
All right, I guess since I'm next to you, I'll go ahead and talk about my gaming moment of the week because it sort of relates to PS3 in a way. I finally got a PS3 this week for the first time.
You got him just in the last
Hooray.
bit of
Just
time.
finally got one, and what I also just got was I got an Elgato game capture card, and I finally started doing Let's Play videos.
Nice.
So I'm excited because I've been wanting one for a while. Finally started doing this. So that was my moment of the week, was going back, and I started doing Dark Souls videos because I love Dark Souls, but I also started doing King's Field. You're welcome for the help. I hope it helped. I also started playing King's Field again, which is one of my favorite PlayStation games. And now that I have a PS3 and I was doing a Let's Play video of King's Field, it's actually one of the
Wait, you're
first.
playing Minecraft?
It's this is King's Field. This is one of the first games from Software, who made Dark Souls and made Demon's Souls, and I loved it when it came out. It got it got slammed by the press, and I always thought it was amazing. So it's fun for me to go back and play it again because it's a
Dave
game I've been
showed me
wanting to
the
play for a while.
progression of this during the week, and I had not played this, and I was so shocked at how, like, as you go down the line of the King's Field games, they slowly turn into Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
You can really see it, especially people were watching my Let's Play King's Field video and they're like, wow, you can really see where King's Field or Dark Souls came from.
Right.
And I was like, I know, that's why they're all good. I've been talking about From Software since I was like 10 playing this game.
Yeah.
So
Awesome, man.
Good gaming moment.
It was just,
And you try
exciting
to
for me
talk to
play it
this
again.
guy several times over, it seems. It's just on repeat.
I like it.
Where's your face?
Where's his face?
Oh yeah, you can tell they didn't have
Yeah.
faces.
Fisherman.
Well, this was literally the very first RPG to come out on the PlayStation. this game. So
yeah, PCs had been the venue
big,
for this stuff up until now.
I mean, not even first-person RPG. It was the first RPG on PlayStation. So I believe, but it's not one of the first. But I think it was the first. So that's the other big thing about it too. So it's actually like very ahead in that sense.
They would have gotten just under the wire because there were some Final Fantasy games that came out as well.
Yeah. Well, Final Fantasy VII I think came out a year after.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean this came out around the release of the PlayStation in America. So anyways, that is my gaming moment of the week is playing King's Field because it's amazing. And just playing it again, I was having so much nostalgia, especially after Dark Souls.
I love it.
It actually comes in like this game comes in like that the first. You remember like the first generation like launch PlayStation titles come in those giant black boxes the same way like the 16.
Yeah, it's like the PS2 box.
Yeah.
So I had to order King's Field again because I lost my original copy of it from eBay, and it comes in the big giant box. Because if you guys remember PlayStation games, there's a little jewel case, CD case.
Yeah.
When PlayStation first came out, they used the big DVD style boxes.
The molded plastic ones.
Yeah.
Right.
When it very first came out, and this is what this game came on because it was one of the first ones. So it was just also fun to get one of those in the mail. Like, hey, it's one of the original PlayStation boxes.
Memories.
Memory City.
Like my old Sega games, they all come in those types of cases as well.
Oh yeah.
So Ryan Whittleson points out, freaky Fishman, dude. And yeah, if you guys, I'll go ahead and plug myself now. If you guys want to watch my Let's Plays, I also do Let's Talks for Dark Souls 2 because obviously, you guys know I'm obsessed with Dark Souls.
I need help.
I'm obsessed. I do need help. It's Dave Control Live, making fun of Game Control Live. The reason that, by the way, the reason that came about, I'm not trying to like tug myself, is because one of my friends.
We'll let other people tug for you.
One of my friends.
Why do it yourself?
When I first started Game Control Live, and I was telling one of my friends about it, he misheard me and thought I said Dave Control Live. And now every time I see that friend, he goes, Dave Control Live!
He's also a drunk asshole.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Caleb, if you're watching, these are true things. Yeah, so literally every time he sees me, he's drunk and he yells that out. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll play off of it and have fun with it. So that's why I made my gaming channel. So
love it.
It's got purpose and reason.
Yep, there you go. So I'm not trying that. I just thought it was funny. Anyways, Grant, your moment of the week.
Okay, my moment of the week is actually a little bit gaming moment, a little bit gaming developer, a little bit food, a little bit Comic-Con. Okay, so Hideo Kojima, not his Twitter picture. Come on, John. His twit pics.
This is to establish where the shit we are. All right.
Exactly.
My gaming moment of the week is
in order.
Hideo Kojima's journey to Comic-Con, and the reason is, if you follow just this one man, you're going to get a lot of references to video games, movies, and food, and if you get to, I mean, like when he travels,
can you click on the Twitter pic for bagel?
The Twitter pic.
I want to see the bagel Twitter pic. It's literally just him holding a plain bagel.
Okay, so my gaming moment of the week is Hideo Kojima's Twitter feed. So if
this is not a bagel.
Videos,
yeah, this is lots, man.
This is the accoutrements to the bagel. You've got.
If you scroll up a little bit, is the bagel up north?
Yeah,
it looks like it's right there. We have a bagel sighting.
He has to piece it together.
It's like a Where's Waldo. He tweets bagel, and you have to figure out where it is.
Hey, you go down earlier. He had dinner last night.
Wow.
Keep going. Dinner. There it is. Pleasant dinner.
Pleasant dinner.
Yes. This is my gaming moment of the week. Hideo Kojima eats in San Diego.
It looks like poop.
That looks like a smiley face.
We were watching it on a picture, which is on a screen, which is then beamed into this studio here, so the colors may be off.
I swear to God, it looks like a smiley face.
That's steak.
It's like he's selling us on the fact that it's pleasant. No, really, guys, it's pleasant.
Yeah, it's really good.
This is the content of his Twitter feed.
Wait,
whenever he travels, he's gone to E3. He goes to, like the Japanese gaming conventions. He goes to the international gaming conventions. He goes to Paris and all that, and he comes here. Whenever he does, he always eats in the local. He eats in the local venues, but he also sometimes brings and then also eats. I mean, obviously he eats sushi.
I need to take Hideo Kojima to some of my favorite hotspots in LA.
That's what I mean. Honestly, I think it would be really good. My E3, my wish for a future E3 is to basically have lunch with Hideo Kojima and have him choose where to eat in Los Angeles.
And then take a picture of it for for you.
Yeah.
Pleasant lunch.
You know what's funny about that too?
We're thinking the same thing. I love it.
One of the trends in Japan that I saw is that it's people taking pictures of their food.
Yeah.
So I just think it's fun. I think it'd be funny and great if someone caught Hideo Kojima taking a picture of his food, and we saw that Twitter pic of him going, picture of my food. So
You know, is
Pleasant
anybody else
Kojima.
like at all surprised by the fact that Hideo Kojima is a hipster? Like this is what I've learned from this.
He's a Japanese video game developer hipster, and like, look at the hair. He's got the hair down as well.
He looks like an anime character a little bit.
yeah, he does. He wants to. I'm sure of it. Banana French something. That sounds good. All right, so I'm thinking French toast. All right, now I'm hungry. Now let's get to you.
Let's get going, right? So my favorite gaming moment of this week is which I purchased through Steam, the summer sale. You can't. I try to resist, but I can't. The prices are too good.
I made up my mind.
So I played this before on Xbox 360, Just Cause 2, and then I bought it again because I was just like, oh, I had so much fun with it. Let's see if it still holds up. And it's amazing.
This game holds up so freaking well.
Holds up so well, and just like the scenery when you're flying and the grappling hook, it's so good. And
the crazy shit that you can do.
Because I was on a plane that a guy was like launching off of because he's like an enemy, and he was going off, and I was on top of it, just like I can see, like singing, you know, just
singing.
I can show you the world, and then I'm like blasting the window, and he's just like and he dies. It's just crazy.
But Donell, why would you do that?
I don't know, because I guess
you're supposed to say Just Cause.
Come on. I can't do that.
I'm sorry, Dave. Apparently Donell isn't lame. So.
Sorry.
Well said.
Thanks for the backup. But yeah,
so
it's just
cool,
you can do
though.
so much. Fly airplanes,
When this
cars,
game first came out,
hook
they had a
people to the car
contest.
and fly off. It's just,
When this game came out, they had a contest because with the grappling hook, you can attach it to, not only you can attach yourself to an object, but you can attach objects to other objects.
Yep.
So when this game first came out, they had a contest to see who could come up with the craziest stunt videos.
Yep.
And like the videos that people came up with were insane. I remember when we were doing it at G4, we were
They
trying.
literally did
we
that?
desperately
look at that.
in
That's what I
real
did.
stuff, yeah.
Look at that.
In real
I
life.
can show you the world.
So does it have you excited about the new Mad Max property?
Yeah, you know, that's the funny thing, because somebody picked it, and they're like, is it Mad Max? And I thought it was Just Cause 3, because I was just like, oh, if they made that would be incredible. Right now, they're making, I don't know if
These guys
they
making
are.
Mad Max.
Yeah, these guys are making Mad Max,
Right.
so it's similar to probably just like, was it a Just Cause
If
3,
they can
and then
do that with
they switched
this,
it to Mad
if they can
Max?
actually, but I mean, like
Because
one of
it
the
looks
ways that
exactly
this
the
works
same.
is because it's humor. It's got much more humor than Grand Theft Auto. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it
it's
does.
like there's a lot of in
Saints
jokes
Row?
as well. But it's kind of like the Saints Row before Saints Row actually was made.
Yeah. I don't know, the emergent gameplay possibilities in this game are
Right.
endless, and that actually has me most excited about. This developer's pedigree is what has me most excited about.
The only thing I would say that would, take it to the next level is multiplayer. Right now, I think some people are making a
Oh, Grand
multiplayer
Theft Auto
mod.
5. Oh.
Right now they have a multiplayer mod for Just Cause 2, but it's like open beta, not open beta, it's closed
It was
beta.
very
you have to
buggy.
you
It
have
was
to
very
wait
buggy.
till certain weekends to try it out and
And you
stuff.
have to do it
so,
on a PC.
but still support those guys creating multiplayer because it's fun. It's incredible, and hopefully in Mad Max or maybe in Just Cause
You
3.
only wish you could skydive like this.
I know.
No, it's fun.
So many
I've
parachutes.
seen that. The parachute thing looks really cool to me, and I still haven't played it. And every time I saw it, I was like, this parachuting looks so sick.
Yeah,
So I need to
it's
definitely need to check
and
it
it's
out.
something that we can just get in for like 10 minutes and get out. Like
The car
Last
stunts
of
are
Us,
crazy, too.
you might have to invest a little bit more time, but for Just Cause 2, I was like, let me just do stuff, and then
So
I'm
for
done.
the gamer who has no time in their life.
My question is, what did you spend on Steam?
Grand Theft Auto
Like
4.
No, what did you buy? Yeah,
Like
how
four-
the
is
kind?
it
$3?
$7.
$7. You
$7.
You can't beat that.
Can't beat
On
that.
Tuesday for like $10, I picked up 3 games, including like Evo Land, Surgeon Simulator.
You
and
can't
like a couple
resist.
others.
I actually really want to play
can't
Surgeon
resist.
Simulator after watching Rachel play.
I'm dying to play it.
All right,
So
so
yeah, that's mine.
so that wraps up our moments of the week. And Alyssa White says that she is playing Just Cause 2 as well, so she's excited. So there you go.
I know you.
My people.
My peeps.
My peeps.
So let's go ahead and get to our quick hit stories. So our first story is a big one for those of you who own the Wii, and hopefully maybe you purchased the Wii U, because gamers have been begging for this for literally ever since the Wii came out with their Wii Shop. Earthbound has finally been released to the Wii Shop, eShop, for the Wii U. Specifically for the Wii U, specifically. So you guys know you can see
have a
John's
studio
control
audience.
panel if
I
you
know
want
exactly what your soundboard looks like.
Well,
Little
you see,
inside
here's
baseball.
the thing. They can't see it because I don't have the camera on it.
Right, he has on close up. He's smart.
So, you know, if you want to be dicks about it, tell everybody. How about?
That is what I want to do. John, as you pointed out at the beginning of the show, I'm a douche.
This is an us versus you scenario right now, sir.
And you muted my mic.
Lose that so hard in the face.
You muted my mic, so I had to get back at you somehow. So, and I do want to point out, by the way, guys, that Rachel and Kyrie are both at Comic-Con covering it, checking it out. So that's why they're not here, and that's why welcome to the doghouse, boys.
Amazing
slumming it today.
Doghouse,
Sausage party.
Sausage Fest, you know, same thing.
Slumming it.
Slumming it.
I prefer Doghouse for some reason. All right, so but yeah, Earthbound, you can finally play it, and I'm excited. Well, again, on the eShop if you didn't play on Super Nintendo, and I'm excited. It's honestly, it's not. I don't think it's the best RPG in the world, like a lot of people think, but it is really good. So it's definitely worth checking out if you're an RPG fan.
Yeah, definitely. I remember some really great moments because it's so weird, it's so bizarre.
It is so weird.
And that's what when I was a little kid, I was just like, "What's happening, man? I see. What's this guy do? Why is he twirling in, landing?" And he's like, "Let's take a picture." And I'm like, "Okay." And it's like, oh, "Wait a minute, that doesn't seem
Let me
right."
just film my stuff.
Yeah, it's like, what is going on?
And it's that cool mix of like that 60s vibe with it, and like the tour bus vans and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that's
But it's
right.
And then you get to tour and you
but
get
it's
to
cool.
see them.
It's also cool because it's one of the few RPGs that doesn't take place in the fantasy world. It takes place as you're in home, and all of a sudden crazy shit happens around you. And there aren't
that's
too many
the
games like that.
zombies and like you have magic and fire, and I was just
Yeah.
like, what the?
And but yeah, there's still like
Suddenly
skater
you're
punks at an
psychic.
arcade.
Yeah, you're psychic.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But then you gotta face like the sharks, the skater punk kids at
Right.
the beginning into the arcade.
Wait, I'm like, wait, I'm a little kid and I'm killing people. What? This doesn't seem right.
It's
they're
a
sharks,
really
bro.
dark game.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
a dark game.
Our Earthbound is actually a really dark game, and apparently the Mother 3, Earthbound is Mother 2. Apparently Mother 3 is even darker than than Earthbound, so it's like super dark
I think
series.
there's a lot of people that really like the Mother series as well.
Yeah.
And they're revamping it. They're bringing it out. Wait, isn't it the developer for Persona as well as developing it? I
I wouldn't be surprised at all if that were the case.
Nah,
Yeah, that would make
sounds like
sense.
an
Yeah, tonally, that seems
Shoot
about
myself and all that.
remember.
Dark, yeah. Let's.
Oh, so you're talking about Beyond Two Souls, where you had the chance. Apparently, you're not allowed to. I was mad. All right, so
You saw that too.
yeah, I interviewed the person about it. I was like, so can you actually shoot yourself in the moment? They're like, no, you get stopped. And I was like,
Yeah.
but
She's
why?
probably like, no more bullets.
So Ubisoft has very high expectations for Watch Dogs. They think they're estimating after E3 that it will sell modestly better than the original Assassin's Creed, which moved 6.2 million copies. Maybe this is why, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because Square Enix got into trouble for overestimating how well Tomb Raider would do, and a bunch of their games. And that's why they have these part of their financial crisis at the beginning of this year was because of overestimating how many games or units they would sell. So, do you think Ubisoft is overestimating with Watch Dogs?
Not in the slightest. I don't
really.
I get tired of financial projections where, like, to your point, the whole Square Enix and their overestimation of Tomb Raider. Like Tomb Raider, I think I think a lot of these organizations need to take a hard look at what their dev cycle looks like and their costs associated with the games are. And if a game needs to sell 4 million units to be profitable, then something's wrong with that model. But that being said, this is like a tentpole IP for Ubisoft, right? I mean, I think they've got a really good track record of executing it. I think, especially with the fact that, like, not this E3, but the E3 a year ago, right, where they were the big, like, drop the mic moment. I'm sorry, Watch Dogs. I think this is on everybody's radar. The hype seems almost impossible around this game.
And I think
up until E3, it was on.
Right, I mean,
and they showed the exact same stuff at E3, and then they played this trailer where you use the phone to shut the lights off in the gameplay, in the trailer, and then in the behind the scenes and behind the closed doors footage. It's a lot like what happened with Destiny at E3. It was like they showed every single person there the same thing, and often they showed it 4 or 5 times, and it was just like, wow, you like it ended up becoming a one-note song for me. I think Watch Dogs did that at E3 for me. It became like a one-note
E3
song.
definitely, they got there like, whoa, a lot of people are excited about it.
Absolutely.
Like, we did this great. Because before, they didn't estimate that like 6.2. They said 1.5 million. That's what they're
Was that original estimate?
Before E3. And then after E3, they're like, oh crap, this is going to be bigger than what we thought.
So we're going to be
That's a big jump there.
6.2 mil. So here's the thing. Now, of course, it's coming out on the PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PC, Wii, PS4. It's coming off on like 6 consoles. Right. So 6.2 mil does sound like, hey, you know what? Maybe they can because it's going to so many platforms that, well, it's just going to generate a lot. But again, it's still a new IP, and I think they're just overdoing it.
Well, Assassin's Creed was as well.
Right, but but Assassin's Creed, I think to this point, we're in a place now where people are feeling, I think, an Assassin's Creed fatigue. This is kind of the next, this is what they're betting on this in this next generation.
Yeah, right.
And so I think they're investing pretty heavily, and I'd be really shocked if it didn't move 6 million units.
But see, as you said, Assassin's Creed did really well, right? They're expecting this to be higher than Assassin's Creed.
Well,
because Assassin's Creed didn't get over 2.2.
I wonder what their cutoff point for a profit is. Like, I wonder if that is their conveniently placed cutoff point. Like, 5 million is what they need to make a profit, and like they can't estimate anything under that because it's just like automatically broadcasting a huge financial loss for the company.
But you can't look at this in a bubble, right? So they're playing the long game with this property. So you know, even if they did just break even on the first one, it's a great investment for every iteration. Clearly this is going to be an annualized franchise in which they're going to bank millions and millions of units in the future. So, I mean, I think from a value proposition, I mean, I would assert that breaking even on this game is a big win for these guys. Also, we got to take a look at the other games that are coming out either before or during when that Watch Dogs coming out. You still got Call of Duty, Ghosts. You got GTA 5. You got.
They're setting themselves up for.
What else?
Yeah, because it all depends on
which are already developed franchise that you know you have a huge audience. Like, let's say if you had a store
but here's the question,
and you see Call of Duty Ghosts and you see Watch Dogs, you're like, well, I know Call of Duty. I don't know about Watch Dogs. Never heard of it. But that could happen.
But here's what could also happen. Maybe Call of Duty's been going on for so long, like Tony Hawk. Same thing with Grand Theft Auto. Maybe people will finally see.
Exactly.
They want Watch Dogs?
Maybe they'll see like the new IP. But Ubisoft has the money. Ubisoft has the money to do commercialization, to really get it out there to people who aren't like us, the hardcore. And I think that they'll do a good job of getting it out there to people who don't know what Watch Dogs is, to make them say, oh, maybe I will choose Watch Dogs over a game I played 20,000 times.
There's also people who don't have enough money to buy all those games. Batman Arkham Origins.
But I'm saying out of what you choose.
It's just like, so you have a selection of
like
big game
Most
titles.
People only purchase 1 or 2 games in a year.
Yeah, and so you're having like, okay, I know Batman, I know Call of Duty, the big franchise, I see it on TV.
People rent a lot of games, but that's not where the sales come from.
But I'm just saying that I think they have enough money to advertise it well enough that it can do well. I don't know over Assassin's Creed, but Assassin's Creed did really well for a reason, and I think that people do still, outside of the hardcore, look for new IPs.
Definitely, and especially like The Last of Us did really well as a new IP.
But again, here, Grand Theft Auto, everyone that I know who I've talked to, they're like, oh yeah, it looks good, but I don't think I know that many people are super excited for it. People like they were for even Grand Theft Auto 4, because I think people are getting tired of it. Call of Duty, people are getting tired of it. Assassin's Creed, people are getting tired of it.
Watch Dogs apart.
We are at like number 10 on all of those franchises, you know?
But there's already an audience who love it to death.
Is how it performs.
People love Tony Hawk to death.
It's going to be on 5 consoles at once. If it performs badly on 3 of those 5, it's going to fail.
Right.
If the fact that it's on that many consoles at once means that it ships with 100 bugs, you're going to see game review outlets give it a 7 out of 10, not the 9 out of 10 that they would have given the game before if it was released on 1 or 2 consoles.
It's also launched for PS4 and Xbox One. So if you did buy it, you're like, what game could I get? Watch Dogs. Okay.
Right. And I think the attach rate on the new consoles would be out through the roof, right? So they're capturing a good percentage of that audience. It's one of the reasons to invest in a new console, right? So you got an install base of 140 million consoles on the last generation, and I think we're seeing the pre-orders are through the roof on the new stuff. So I mean, again, I'm cautiously optimistic, and if I'm Ubisoft, again, I'm fine with even taking a slight loss on this. Shareholders aren't going to love it, but if you can sell the long game on this,
they will take a loss.
The start of console generations is where you invest in new IPs.
You know what? I gotta agree with you, Patrick, because I think like that is where you invest in new IP. That's why Gears of War did so well, was because it was a new IP.
Absolutely.
At the beginning of a console, that is when you want to sell a new IP, because everyone's looking for what game can I buy for my new console.
Yeah, and
Watch Dogs is one of those.
And buy annually every year for the rest of your console cycle.
And that's fine, but setting that limit so high, I kind of feel like, hold up there.
But part of that is,
I think you're getting that E3 hype in your head.
I mean, well, so but there's a couple.
He's had it for like 4 weeks.
But think about that. I know I have. Think about this. Why do they put that number out there? right? So I think part of that in and of itself is selling the fact that
they're humans just like us, and they make mistakes.
They've revealed the development cost to their investors, so they actually have to put a number out there where they can't come to an investor call saying like, oh, we're only planning to sell a 1.5 million units when it costs so much to make and they're releasing on so many consoles, or their investors are going to look at them and go like, wait a minute, let's do the math real quick, because they are math people, let's admit it. They're going to do
I'm the math people.
1.5 million, and so the maximum margin, or the maximum that this game is going to be sold for on the first couple months, that's only going to net you back 10% or 30% of what it cost to develop the game. You guys are going in the wrong direction. They release these sky high numbers because it's what they need in order to make a profit.
They released it for two reasons.
But then they get screwed like Square Enix.
This number was released on a quarterly earnings call on Ubisoft, right? So, so it's a function of the fact that they need to be accountable to their stockholders for sure. But the second piece of it is the reason that they put that out there, I think, is a marketing play. Look, we're confident in this game. It's going to sell through the roof.
Yep.
And that's why we're talking about it.
All right, so these quick hits have become long hits, so I got to move forward. So next topic is Romulate your iOS. That's what I'm calling it, Romulating it. So basically,
Romulans.
It's gotten bigger. Thank you, Kotaku, for basically screwing everybody over, by the way. By releasing this article, now we are further screwing them over. GPA.
We didn't do it first.
We didn't do it first.
That's a good point.
When we don't get this viewership that Kotaku does, let's face it. But GBA for iOS just came out, or has been out for Game Boy Advance, and Kotaku is talking about it. It basically allows you to play your GBA games and ROMs on your iOS, on your iPad, on your iPhone. And here's the thing, is like apparently it does this workaround so you can actually do it, because iOS is very strict about emulators and ROMs and not being able to use them.
Yep. Yeah.
But my feeling is, being that people like Kotaku just report on it, now they're going to get screwed and there's going to be a some sort of patch that comes out.
Yeah, I mean, it was getting big though. I mean, that's how Kotaku discovered. So as much as like, even if Kotaku didn't cover it, someone else would, and then it would have been just bigger. But yeah, it's like, it's just a cycle. Look, one thing gets big, it gets cut off, another one comes in.
Yeah, there'll be a workaround again in the future. I'm just not worried about it.
It's just like this endless
workarounds if you guys have a jailbroken iOS. You just can't play that
but the whole point,
sex game.
Yeah, but the whole point was you could do this without jailbreaking your iOS.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
About it. All right, so another hit. Bad news for EA. Apparently their NCAA deal is off, because NCAA says that they're tired of EA having a monopoly over the football franchises, and they're done with it. No more rights to using the NCAA name. However, they still have EA came out and said they still have a deal with the college, the collegiate licensing company, so they can
they're still good friends.
Yeah, so they can still use all the players and their names. They just can't use the title NCAA.
Yeah, it's total bullshit, right? So like the NCAA is being sued, right? So they're
called Super College Football.
Yeah, I mean, EA is being sued, right? Because they're monetizing.
They're monetizing
the league, right? So they have players that are
Super College Football and 64. Super College Football 64.
I think this is the first This is the first shot across the bow saying we're in real trouble with this lawsuit that the players are launching against them, right? They've been monetizing the league for years. These college athletes don't see a dime of it, and people are tired of it. So I think this is really to limit their exposure in that lawsuit. It has very little to do with the fact that EA has a monopoly on anything. And they're going to continue to develop college football games. Like, I don't think EA is sweating it, and I think the NCAA is looking at a lawsuit that could potentially end the NCAA.
Yeah, it's pretty big. It sucks what those players have to go through.
Their monopoly and the way that they license their players' likenesses.
Yeah, a lot of those players are completely screwed after college too.
Right, totally. And they don't even get a dime of what they're selling of their like sweaters and like, I don't know.
It's just a new environment where players from prominent sports leagues, whether it's World Wrestling, soccer, football, baseball, they negotiate their their comings and like what they get off these games on a per person basis, or they negotiate a flat fee with the association.
The player association divvies that out, and just college athletes are just getting screwed across the board. It's amazing to me this hasn't come out before now.
Are. But I mean, I get at least the one thing they do get is they get a free ride to college for the most part. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them get free rides to college.
Hey, anything about college?
Free college
it's not what it used to be.
No, it's not. I agree, but it's still free college education. And most people, even though college isn't what it used to be, pretty much every employer requires everybody still requires a college degree, even if it's not going to get you a job. You still need it.
Yeah, I don't know. Nowadays, I feel like it's experience.
We work in entertainment, Donell, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
entertainment is different than a lot of industries.
I have a college degree, but I didn't get that because of that. I got it because it's internship and experience.
Well, I got my job because my internship, but I was in college to get my internship. So.
Right, and that's what sucks. So you had to pay a lot more just to work for free and then get paid to less, and then you got to, I don't know.
You're confusing me.
I'm not a math person. Sorry, I need a Ubisoft.
Right, so everyone to know, in the entertainment industry, you don't even really need an elementary education.
No, you just need to go to prison.
Giant success in this.
Really, you just need to go to prison, and then you'll be a big cameraman.
Right. Also, I heard you get free healthcare in prison. So
yeah, no, actually, a lot of prison people outside of prison, that's what they become.
You're now selling the upside of prison. Is that what's going?
That's what this is.
Free stay, free sale, healthcare. Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about it because we're late on time. Let's go ahead and talk about Evo because we got Donell here who knows his fighting game stuff.
Bam, bam.
Drops some knowledge on me, man.
When it comes to fighting animations, I usually go to this guy first.
Yeah.
So Super Smash Bros. Melee blew the F up after the controversy.
Okay, this is what's so great about it. Okay, so Nintendo, if you guys heard,
we did a whole segment on it.
Right. They were like, no, you can't present that. And then after Evo, it's like, look, you guys are doing something really bad. And they're like, all right, we're doing something bad. You guys will have it. It won't be that big. It's big. It raised over $90,000 for breast cancer for during the stream, which is incredible.
I don't know, it's in at 100,000, so.
Sorry, breast cancer.
Sorry,
taking it all back.
No, I'm just trying to be Nintendo. Nintendo's like, well, if you reached 100,000, then we would have been okay with you streaming this.
I guess breast cancer will still live on. No, but it's incredible how these people showed up and the amount of hype. I mean, the Wobbles, Dr. PP. I know that's a little funny, but incredible fighters. And Mango, who was the winner of Super Smash Bros. Melee's the grand finals, was incredible.
Who did he play as? Because I didn't actually get a chance to watch it.
Fox, and then also another one was, I think Dr. PP played Falco, which are two of my favorite characters too.
And they played very similar play styles.
Wobbles in the grand final played as the Ice Climbers, which I was surprised to see someone bring out Ice Climbers.
No,
well, a lot of people are really good with Ice Climbers.
Yeah,
I am horrible.
It's incredible what they do with those. I suck at those, but
are you allowed to use Olimar in Smash Brothers, or is he banned? Because I've heard he's a little bit.
Like overpowered.
Yeah, overpowered.
Yeah, I think he was banned because I didn't see him throughout the fight. I mean, there was Peach, Jigglypuff,
Kirby.
Kirby. There was a Kirby one.
Kirby's my boy.
Yeah, it was probably like
watching the Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition fights made me think that Akuma should be banned.
I was just gonna say
no, not really.
I think they
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Let's hold on for 1 second. Marvel vs. Capcom is actually thinking about balancing the game after how it performed at Evo and how like one-sided some of the characters are.
Yeah.
So like, why can't they do something like that?
Because you have over 60 characters. It's hard to balance 60 characters.
And they're willing to go out and
here's
do
the thing.
it.
It's also hard.
Is not.
It's also hard to determine what the players can do with these characters, right? So you create these characters, you're like, okay, this one has max health, but he has low defense and he has this certain attacks. You're creating all these characters, but you don't know what these expert fighters will do to those characters to make them OP.
Yeah.
Because I bet you say, oh, it's OP, play them. Play as those characters. I guarantee you'll still lose.
Yeah,
so it's not OP.
These people.
It's just
a lot of these people could play any character and beat some,
and beat
like
you.
Some of the
it's just as a tournament.
Right, that's and they could beat us with anybody.
Right,
Dulcimer just wreck shot.
I mean, the other thing on your point, Donell, too, is that when you create a game, I mean, that's the point of a designer. You have to balance it. I know I was saying it's hard to balance 60 characters. They do try to balance them all.
These games have even weirder time
But here's the thing, though. I mean, here's the thing is maybe you think it's balanced, and then you send out to millions of players who are going to figure out every little quirk, every little thing that you can do to get around
down to the frames. The frames.
Yeah,
that's incredible. Yeah. Injustice, they actually have where you can adjust the. They'll tell you the frames of these certain attacks because they know that data is valuable to those players.
The highly competitive games, like the fighters, like for Marvel vs. Capcom, Tekken, Street Fighter, like these players analyze to the frame and even beyond that.
I can't do it that much because
I'm just Blanca and I'm gonna jump in the corner and shock the shit out of you.
Well, here's my one question: why the hell has this never been at EVO?
What? Oh, you're gonna show something on the screen.
Oh, Guilty Gear.
True.
Because it's broken as all hell. I don't know.
Well, actually,
it's Hideo Kojima.
You know what? That's a funny thing because how games are at Evo is pretty much by the fans. So they vote in what game should be part.
And there are some games like Skullgirls, which is like highly competitive now,
right?
Which are getting like it's a relatively new title, and it's getting its day in the sun at Evo.
Exactly, because that's how you get into Evo. I mean, they can't feature all fighting games. It'd just be too long and just like they don't know if it'll be worth it. So they let the fans choose.
I just want an original arcade Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition. Yeah, that's what I want.
I think they had that last year.
They Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition?
Yeah, I think they had it last year or 2 years ago. But see, that's why, because it was voted by the fans.
Right. So cycle stuff in.
Right, and so things can change. So I mean, there's a lot of other ones. King of Fighters 13 was in it. I mean, you might be like, who's doing that? There's a community out there voting for this every time, and it's in, and it's incredible. There was an incredible comeback, actually the biggest one, which was the grand finals. He was the loser bracket. That means you have to win like 15 times or whatever.
8 a row after
8 a row.
Yeah.
And he came back from down to 2 and came back all the way up and won it. I mean, it's incredible what they did. And also was Killer Instinct was showing off.
Fantastic.
Doing stuff.
So they vote really independent of any sort of balancing, right? Like they'll just any game that's voted in, they'll play and compete.
Yeah, and then also people will say like, oh, this hasn't been fixed, so that character's banned, right?
Okay.
So if it hasn't been fixed clearly, because either it's like, well, it's a combo that's infinite and it keeps going, and if it's not fixed, then they will ban that character or ban that certain combo. So if it's seen being done, you're down.
What if you do that combo once but not infinitely?
That's fine.
Okay.
If you do it infinitely, you're banned.
Yes.
You're cut.
So educate me a little bit here. What's the money involved here? If I win an Evo tournament, how rich am I?
I saw a breakdown right after the tournament, and it's surprising. Like only the really big people and the people that have sponsorships and that can go to multiple tournaments and consistently win really make the kind of money that would say like, this is a career for me.
Right.
Some of those other people are more like they're testing the waters and they really couldn't.
You definitely need a sponsorship to get that sort of like traveling to every competition, because there's not just Evo. I mean, there's others in the Philippines, Japan,
and there's qualifiers that lead up to Evo too.
Right.
So
exactly.
You're not
Brazil,
just showing up at Evo.
It's all that.
Minute.
But you don't have the money to travel and compete and then like lose and then have to stay and then spend all your money.
What do I make on one tournament? Like if outside of sponsorships, outside of like I
think it's 100,000.
Okay.
I think it's 100,000.
It's like 100, 150.
And then it goes down from there, whatever the breakdown. 50, 75, 50, 25.
So something I want to touch on that John actually showed me was that Polygon had an article about unionizing esports and sports like this, and how hard it is to do because all these players only play for basically 2 years. And it's just pretty much impossible at this point to have a union.
Yeah, well, there's still like Justin Wong who was playing way more than 2 years.
But I mean, like I'm saying, like most of them apparently only play 1 to 2 years.
It's I still say like the ones who get sponsored have a longer.
Well, they were saying that the only people who really make money are like you guys said sponsors.
Yeah,
players
but it's still good for a new player to compete in Evo, because if you do get in the top 32 or top 16,
you have a Twitter following.
You got a Twitter following. you got an eye that people like you, and sponsorships would be like,
and
hey,
now it's completely
we want to make
with
you
YouTube, with Twitch, and the way that they're streaming and being able to present these
gotta make some additive revenue,
championships and stuff. Like these people are now getting the opportunity to be more of a celebrity than they were.
Yeah.
Now,
like 5, 10 years
and they get also video games. Companies will invite them to beta test and test out the games and say, hey, is it unbalanced? And during that time, you can't really compete because you already have a head.
Sure.
That's kind of cheating. But after a certain amount of time, when everybody else got it, I think you can enter it.
Okay, so I'm wondering, what were the top games viewer-wise at Evo this year?
Marvel vs. Capcom.
Super Smash Brothers Melee, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom, and Tekken Tag. It's still good. It's still good.
It's fans.
But Super Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the big three.
But that's the Super Street Fighter 4.
So basically, the ones you would pretty much expect
is the take home. Like that's people. The number of viewers just skyrocketed when you're talking about those matches, because these are the people that boast the most during the rest of the year.
Yeah, and it's something where it's you got the big players that you know here, but there are incredible players in Tekken.
Competed to the max already. So when people boast, they know that like, oh, if he doesn't bring it or if he doesn't like compete well enough, it might
but there's still a huge audience. I don't want to make it sound like, oh man, only like 7 people watch Skullgirls. No, it's a big community.
We're talking tens of thousands.
That watch it, and even Injustice God Among Us was in Evo too.
Oh, did that end up in Evo?
Yeah, and actually it did really well. A lot of people love the NetherRealms with Mortal Kombat still appearing at Evo and Injustice. So it's a good promising. It's just like not only Japan games can be the top, American games can also reach that level.
I like
too.
Mortal Kombat, but Injustice, it's that combo system that I don't like as much as Injustice. It's not my style of fighting games. I'm a Street Fighter game.
Right. And I think that's what
games though.
It's kind of hard. It's like when you're
Marvel
trading
vs. Capcom, Street Fighter, and then Injustice, Gods Among Us. Like I'll have have that, like, if you screw up just once, like, you open yourself up to like half of your life bar.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like you don't want to be the same exact game as like Street Fighter or Marvel vs. Capcom 3 because it's already done so well. So that's why you have Injustice, which is like a new combo system to introduce new players and to get something different so it stands out.
Right,
Same thing with Killer Instinct.
Well, it's kind of Killer Instinct to me. It's
they have tons of new features that
I love Fulgore.
Well, I'm saying Injustice reminded me of Killer Instinct's fighting style.
With this new one, Killer Instinct, that I just want to quickly bring up, it's that it has new features that none other. Some that they're taking from all games and putting into one. So they have like Shadow Counter, which was in Third Strike, which was the famous Daigo and Justin Wong, which was Chun-Li and Ken. And Chun-Li did the super, and he countered animation, and he can take no damage, and he countered it, but it's really hard to do. And then he countered back and won the tournament, right? Killer Instinct has that called Shadow Counter, which is the same thing. It's like if you're really skilled and you have good timing, you can block moves and it won't take any damage. And it's a really cool animation.
So let me ask you two questions. So one, knowing nothing about Evo, right? Like I'm a cursory understanding.
Go for it.
One, what's a good entry point? If somebody wanted to get into this that enjoys fighting games but just has never followed Evo, where do you start? You know,
YouTube matches.
Yeah, I would say just
matches on YouTube.
I mean, it's. If you haven't,
Wait, are you talking about competing?
Competing
or just watching it.
I'm never going to compete.
Because I'm gonna say, if you want to learn how to train,
absolutely not.
So like how what game you should get into? Like
who should you be watching? Are there the big personalities out there? Like
it's hard. I mean, it's just
watch anybody who won this year. That's a given because some of these people come onto the scene and then they leave after 2 or 3 years. But also watch Justin Wong, Clockwork.
I would say international players, Daigo and Infiltration, PR, Balrog. I mean, all these big players can definitely show incredible stuff that maybe you won't understand, but you'll get the gist of it. Like you'll be like,
I was watching
wow, that must have been an incredible move because it looked incredibly hard.
I'll never forget Clockwork came in to show us Tag Tournament, and like the way that he played the game after we had been playing it for 2 weeks was just insanely different.
It was like using the Matrix. He doesn't even see it.
Honestly,
he was the tester for that game, Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Yeah, Street Fighter.
So definitely knew a lot more stuff. But yeah, it's like that certain type of like when you view these top players, like I would say anybody in the top 32 of Evo, and I think that's a good thing to start. Look at Evo, which is a huge fighting tournament.
Right.
See that, and I think that will inspire you when you're looking at other ones because there's tons going on throughout the year. It's not just Evo.
So all right, well we got to wrap this up.
Wrap up. One more question.
So the reason I play fighting games is to talk shit. So do they when they're playing? Are they talking back and forth?
Oh yeah.
Excellent.
And it's the commentary.
Oh boy.
Hilarious.
Don't they call that cabinet culture? Don't they?
Yeah, I guess it's middle school.
Fair enough. All right, I'm sold. Thank you. Moving on.
So we gotta wrap this up. So before we go, we asked you guys last week, what would you like to see from Nintendo for a new franchise? On Twitter, Toluca Baduka responded adult themes because Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto is working on a new Nintendo franchise. For those of you who didn't see that last week's show, Joseph Boza on YouTube says, I'm such a big fan of CBS's hit Big Brother reality show. I'd like to see a Mario Brothers Big Brother edition.
How very
How would
specific.
that work? That's what I'm wondering. It's like, how do you make a game of Big Brother?
He's trolling. He's trolling.
I don't know. He's not trolling. He watches our show all the time.
I'm sorry. You know, I know everyone's entitled to their opinion, but sometimes those opinions can be wrong, and I think this is one of those examples.
Don't hate on our viewers, John. All right, so some other YouTube comments.
He knows where I am. He's got a problem. Come at me,
so
bro.
Some other.
We're gonna lose John for another.
Yeah, you know the corner, 3rd Street, and. So all right, other YouTube comments. Guillermo Cornejo last week said, "Let the girls talk." That guy, Rachel Side, you're talking too much, Grant.
Yeah, I'm talking too much.
So shut up for a while.
I'll let Rachel talk this week. Don't worry.
Shut up a little while and let the others talk a little bit. Damn it. Well, that's why we have an all guys edition. Because of you, we said no girls.
No girls allowed.
So we can just talk.
We really went the other direction on that.
Yeah.
You said, but the opposite.
Yeah. Bogey Gall 316 says the only console I waited in line for was the N64. After that, it was order online and wait my turn, which a lot of people I think are doing this now is ordering online. And a question for you guys for next week is, how do you feel about the video game scene at Comic-Con? Are you excited because it gives the public a chance to play what was at E3, or do you feel like it kind of muddles out the point of Comic-Con, sort of like Ryan was saying?
Yeah. So, and can you really point to one of those things that's strong at Comic-Con like it was like 7 years ago? Can you point to movies? Did they dominate? Did you point to video games, or is it comic books like it should be?
All right, so Donell, we have you here with us. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now.
So if you like anime, which I know you do because you like video games, comics, movies, television, you like all that. We're all geeks and nerds and all together. I am a producer for Anime Expo. They have this our own studio called EXSBJA, but it's EX Studio for short. And basically, we promote Anime Expo and other conventions and other shows and just the anime, manga, and cosplay. And we have several shows, which you can see. We have, I mean, you see me there at Vocaloid parties in Los Angeles, in Little Tokyo. That was incredible. That was incredible. We have Cosplay Spotlight.
You didn't dress up?
I couldn't dress up. I got to be professional, you know? Cosplay Spotlight, which you can get to know a cosplayer like never before.
Where's Rachel?
Rachel, come on. You can be on the show. And then we also have the anime list, listing top 5 anime lists from the funniest to the sexiest. And we have Neo Cinema, which we review anime. So it's like, instead of like Anime Expo happening once a year, we keep it going, you know, and we're definitely supporting them. We have High Score, which is video games discussion, but we're making new changes, introducing more shows. We have more people hopping on board. So I just want to promote that. So guys, check it out. Subscribe. Check out our Facebook too, which is exstudio.sbja.
And then you put a lot of work into the lists thing, so
yeah, definitely. It's pretty good. It's pretty cool stuff to work with. And we're also creating a website soon, so hopefully it comes out before this year ends. But
awesome, man. I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it.
So ADV's a fan says, hell yeah, give me all them animes.
Oh boy, I got them animes. Check out the anime list. It's really funny.
Check out them animes. Actually, he said the animes, but I like saying them animes.
Damn animes.
Check out all them animes.
The Bears.
The animes.
The Bears. I'm from Chicago. It's cool. All right, so with that said, guys, we are going to wrap up, but thank you guys so much for joining us. Check us out, Game Control Tube on YouTube, and I had to play this song. It's from Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
I feel like falling like into
this is a Dance of the Pales piano version by Laura6683. Check out our YouTube. It's a beautiful song.
It's a classic.
Symphony of the Night, such amazing music.
Does this play in the library?
No, this plays. No. This isn't the library. This is This is when you go to the area that's. I'm trying to remember the bosses there, but it's an in-between area above the clock. This is above the clock.
Okay, yeah. No, I know.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
It's above the clock. Symphony of the Night, one of the best games ever made. So, and great music. But anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Check us out, Game Control Tube on YouTube. Check us out at Game Control Live for our Twitter feed. And with that said, I'm Dave Klein. You can find me on Twitter at the Dave Klein or Dave Control Live on YouTube. I'm kind of like thinking back, like maybe this is a crappy YouTube name. That's so stupid.
I kind of love it. Embrace it.
You gotta go with it now. You can't stop.
Yeah.
You can find me on P to the Dees at Twitter, and check out if you like my shenanigans. We're Pixel by Pixel, our podcast. So look us up on YouTube, iTunes, not
Pixel by
YouTube.
Pixel.
Yeah, not YouTube.
Yeah, none of this YouTube stuff.
I'm Grant. You can catch me on Twitter at GAK, and catch me also writing for Nerdluster during the week.
Some outstanding stuff, by the way. I've been checking that out.
Thank you.
And then also, you can check out my Twitter at the Donell Zone, and it's pretty much the sexiest zone you ever will be in.
Sexiest zone ever.
Welcome to the Donell Zone.
And for those of you guys watching on the live chat, watching us live, just make sure to stick around because we got Metro Last Light Rewind for Game Control Rewind right after this, starting immediately afterwards.
Pretty much. And don't forget, you can also find me at Twitter at NowQuick. Whoever I just insulted today, add me.
Bring it, bro.
Tweet at him, bro.
Come at me, bro. Do you even lift?
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Oh, man, Donell, you're so good at piano.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.